Hi, this is Alvin, the CEO of Dr. Wealth, and Sembcorp Marine had a very big announcement about its upcoming rights issue as well as a potential merger with Keppel O&M. So if you are a shareholders of either Sembcorp Marine or Keppel, please be sure to watch what I will do to explain this deal that's upcoming so that you can better decide what to do with your investment. Usual disclaimer, pause and read it if you need to. Okay, these are the two announcements. First is the rights issue, which is what the management have proposed, but isn't approved yet until the EGM, the extraordinary general meeting, is being conducted somewhere a few months later. All right, and the second one is Sembcorp Marine and Keppel O&M, Offshore and Marine. A potential merger may happen to form a bigger entity that's very focused on the offshore and marine sector. But this is not confirmed yet. It is a memorandum of understanding that has been signed. That simply means that nothing is confirmed, okay? And there will be a lot of developments coming from this discussion, right? There's more details to be ironed out before the public will get a proposal from the management. Okay, so I'll give you more details about it. But before that, let's recap what has happened since COVID-19 has struck the world in last year, 2020, right? So we saw that the crude oil price went below $0 on 21st April 2020, and that has never happened before. And no matter how bad the economy was or how bad the commodity cycle was was bearish, it has never gone to zero, all right? But it happened. And that created a lot of shockwave to the rest of the oil and gas industry. And of course, Sembcorp Marine and Keppel Corp were not spared. Their share price has taken a hit as well. And by June last year, Sembcorp Industries and Sembcorp Marine announced a recapitalization and demerger. And what happened was that Sembcorp Industries used to have a big stake in Sembcorp Marine, but after the demerger, that stake is no longer around anymore. So Sembcorp Industries became very more focused on other aspects of the business except the offshore and marine business that Sembcorp Marine still have. And they take the opportunity, Sembcorp Marine, to raise $2.1 billion, right? But out of which $1.5 billion were the money owed to Sembcorp Industries, and they just offset the debt from there. And the real cash that actually went to Sembcorp Marine was around $600 million. And by September last year, they completed the entire rights issue, right? And we can see that it's pretty dilutive in the effect, and the shareholders or the investors generally were pretty bearish about the news, and there was quite a bit of sell down for the share price itself, right? Considering that at the start of 2020, the share price was about $1.25, and then by September 2020, the share price had gone to around 20 cents. Or less, okay, about 19 cents actually, right? So that was a huge drop, okay, like a 90% drop in the share price. And that didn't bode well with the shareholders, of course. And since then, oil price have recovered. And by Jan 2021, oil price has recovered to about over $50. And now, during this recording, oil price is above $70. So it seems like, the tide has turned, and maybe the offshore and marine sector can really recover from there. But what we saw in the Sembcorp Marine numbers, in their balance sheet and their cash flow statement, it doesn't look that good, all right? And one of the issues that they faced was there is the supply crunch in terms of the labor. They have difficulty moving the project ahead so that they can get more cash out of the projects that they have completed. So there is this delay, and while they're waiting for the inflow, the company continue to have the burn rate that they're hemorrhaging cash day by day, month by month. And now is a time where they need more liquidity injected in the company. So that's why on 24th June, they announced a $1.5 billion rights issue, as well as that potential merger with Keppel O&M. Okay, so that was what happened in the past 1 year. This is the deal of the rights issue. And for Sembcorp Marine shareholders, for every 2 shares you have, you are entitled to 3 rights shares. Okay, so if you have 2,000 shares, you can buy another 3,000 shares. Okay, at a price of 8 cents each. Okay, so essentially it's like a 1.5 times the number of shares you have to qualify for the number of rights issues, the rights shares that you're going to get. Okay, they are not free. Okay, you have to pay to convert them to Sembcorp Marine shares, but you are entitled to do so. Right? You can also subscribe more if you really like this issue. You can subscribe partial, right? Or you can don't subscribe at all. It is also a renounceable rights issue, right? That means that you are able to sell it in the market. The rights will be traded and it has some value. You can sell it if you want to. Okay, but I will share with you why I think that that's not really possible. All right. If we look at the pricing consideration, the 8 cents is the issue, the new share price, right? It is at a heavy discount. Okay, from even the latest share price of 19 cents. There's a 58% discount, and almost half of the net tangible asset per share. And the ex-rights price after the rights issues are being completed, is probably expected to trade around 12 cents, and there's another 35%. So it looks very dilutive, and the number of shares created is more than existing shares. Okay, so from the look of it, definitely the share price is going to take a hit. All right, and indeed, at the open today, the share price dropped around 25% from yesterday's close. All right, so this is expected due to this pricing of these rights and the massive issuance of the shares that's going to happen if this rights issue is going through. Okay, and there are some details, all right, about who have so-called like going to subscribe to this rights issue. Start Tree Investment, which is a subsidiary, wholly owned subsidiary at Temasek, has committed to subscribe all its rights. Okay, so they are going to guarantee that, okay, this 43% stake in Sembcorp Marine, we're going to take all. Okay, the rights, we're going to take everything. Okay? And they did say that they will also get the access rights if other shareholders do not want it, but they will have a limit, which is 67% of the rights issue. Okay, and DBS will underwrite the remaining 33% of the rights issue. That means Sembcorp Marine is going to get the full $1.5 billion, regardless what happened, right? And DBS underwrite means that they will find investors to subscribe to this 33% stake. Otherwise, they will write the check for Sembcorp Marine. Okay, so there is this guarantee. Sembcorp Marine is going to get all the money that it needs to carry on. The matter is who are going to fund it, right? Depends on whether the rest of shareholders want to do it. If not, then Start Tree and DBS will step in to take up most, if not all, of the offering. And if we look at the 2020 numbers, right, this is their cash flow statement of Sembcorp Marine. The operating cash flow is negative, right? They are just second half of 2020, they were burning like $600 million. Okay, and inclusive of the capital expenditure, the capex, another 31 million, that's $650 million. All right, and the cash that they had was around 800 million, and which means that it's very, very close, very, very tight to that kind of burn rate that we're looking at. Okay, so the full year was more than $800 million burn. Okay, of course, they will try as much as possible to bring down this burn rate. And the worst should be over, because 2020 was where the COVID-19 has struck. We will expect the numbers to be very bad. Okay, if they can reduce the burn rate, then the run will be a lot longer. All right, so I think that is pretty tight. That's why they are asking for money. Okay, and they are raising to another 1.5 billion to bring the cash level up to 2.3 billion. That will extend the runway a lot longer and more comfortable. All right, and we look back at the issue, the rights issue in 2020, okay, to see how popular or how unpopular it was. They did up a 10.5 billion rights. Okay, and out of which only 9.4 billion were subscribed. So it wasn't fully subscribed. So that gives you that idea that, it wasn't that popular, right? Sembcorp Marine shareholders were not keen to throw more money inside the company. And out of which 7.5 billion were taken up by Sembcorp Industries, okay, which is 72% of the rights. Okay, and Start Tree took another 1 billion. And if we take the remainder, that means that the other shareholders will only took up about 8.3, less than 10% of the rights issue. So if that is any indication, I do think that this round of rights issue will not be popular as well, right? End up, Temasek via Start Tree will have to take out the bulk of the rights issue. Alright? And even that 2.1 billion, as I mentioned just now, that they raised last year, 1.5 billion was to offset for the debt that owed to Sembcorp Industries. Right? There's only $600 million that really went inside Sembcorp Marine bank account. Okay, and as we can see, last year they burned around $800 million for the full year. It's as good as the rights issue is done. Right? The money has been spent already. And it is renounceable, right? But let's say that, I don't want to subscribe the rights. Okay, you want to sell it to somebody who wants the rights. I suspect that you would have difficulty doing that because if the rights issue is not popular, the buy volume for the rights is not going to be high. And nobody is going to buy from you on the other side. That means that the price may even go down very low to attract buyers and may even trade at the very lowest point, right? The rights. I don't know what the price will be when it trades, okay? But if you go down to that level, then the sale of their shares may not even be worthwhile for the brokerage fee they're going to pay. All right. So let's say you have like 1,000 rights to sell, 1,000 times, and assuming the rights price is trading at the lowest denominator, the lowest number, which is sub 1 cent. Okay. And that would be around $1. And then the brokerage fee, you're going to pay like, I don't know, $25. It's not worthwhile for you to sell it, even if there's a buyer on the other side. Right, so I do think that the renounceable rights is as good as non-renounceable because you won't be able to sell it even if you want to, right? So, but not to worry, Temasek and DBS, they have promised, okay, to take up the rights issue, right? That's what I mentioned just now as well, that the whole 100% will be eventually taken up and $1.5 billion will be inside Sembcorp Marine's bank account. Okay, it's just a matter of who are subscribing. And that means that because of the ownership level, they have a 40% Temasek have 40% stake in Sembcorp Marine. When this right issue take place, that means that Temasek may have to do a mandatory offer. Okay, this is required by the rules of the listing. Okay, and it may be triggered. That means that Temasek must offer the rest of the shareholders the same price, okay, if they want to sell the shares. But this is not an intention to delist Sembcorp Marine. In fact, Temasek has said that the intention is to for Sembcorp Marine to remain listed. But because of this situation, this rights issue and the potential increase in the stake of Temasek in Sembcorp Marine, they need to do a mandatory offer by the rules. All right. I think that at a very low price, I also don't think that shareholders will want to sell to Temasek, and the chances of Sembcorp Marine staying listed is very, very high. Okay, but at the same time, Temasek's stake in Sembcorp Marine is likely to cross 50%. Right, they're going to be a super majority kind of shareholder in Sembcorp Marine. Okay, and these are the timeline that will lead up to the eventual rights issue completion. Now they just announced it on 24th June 2021, and the details of the EGM has not been out yet. Okay, the date has not been out. This is just the initial phase. All right, as time goes by, you will get all the information that you need to do the voting. Okay, if you really dislike this, you still can vote it. All right, a simple majority is needed to approve this ordinary rights issue. But I believe that it is very likely to go through. Why? Because Start 3 has already promised or undertake to vote in favor. And that is over 40% of the shares already. That means you just need another probably 8%, right? And they can just approve this rights issue, which I think that it is almost guaranteed that this rights issue is going to happen. Okay. The second news, right, is about the potential merger between Sembcorp Marine and Keppel Corp, Offshore and Marine. Okay, these two entities combined together, and it is a very logical approach, a very logical strategy, because your Sembcorp Marine business and Keppel Offshore and Marine business are very similar. Okay, instead of having two different companies struggling with this segment of the business, right? Why not you just combine both entity do what? You can have pool more resources together, you reduce the competition, that could save an ailing industry that supports a lot of jobs actually, and a lot of other small medium enterprises in Singapore. Okay, so I do think that this is a logical move, all right? And that's not all, okay? Keppel will go through even more restructuring, right? So now it's not about Sembcorp Marine, now it's more about Keppel. And what the deal is suggesting, even though it is in the very early stages, preliminary, it isn't confirmed yet, but these are what the information we have gathered so far, right, or what they have released so far. So the new entity will be a spin-off from Keppel, right? And in return, Keppel will get the shares in this combined entity plus another $500 million. Okay, and then Keppel's intention is to distribute the shares to the other shareholders of Keppel, dividend in specie, like what Keppel Corp industry did with Sembcorp Marine, right? What they did was that they distributed a dividend in specie to the rest of shareholders, right? So Keppel is going to do the same with the offshore marine. Okay, and there are some other assets like the legacy rigs and associated receivables, the projects that are still ongoing for these rigs. They will not be injected in the combined entity, but it will be injected into another company. Okay, they haven't decided a name for it, but they just coin it Asset Co in their statements, right? And in return, Keppel will get less than 20% stake in this new Asset Co, and Kyanite, which is also another Temasek linked company, is a subsidiary, right? It will have more than 80% stake in this new company. And in return, Keppel will be paid in credit notes. All right? Okay, no, not immediate cash that's given to Keppel. As for other subsidiaries, other investments like Flotel International and Dynamac, these two companies, Keppel will still be retaining the stakes. All right, so you can see there are several level of details. Okay, that is the plan that the management have put forth, and discussion is still ongoing. Okay, the details may change, but this is the current plan right now. And looking at the performance post demerger for between Sembcorp Industries and Sembcorp Marine, it has been very good for Sembcorp Industries, right? Since the demerger, the share price has gone up 113%, while Sembcorp Marine has tanked 48%. So you can see that the fortune has changed a lot. And I believe that it is going to be good for Keppel Corp as well once they spin off that O&M, because a lot of investors see that as a burden to the rest of the business, right? And that drags down the entire performance. And once Keppel is able to offload that to Sembcorp Marine, then Keppel will be better in terms of their share performance. Indeed, just after the announcement in the opening bell, Keppel went up about 5%. Okay, so that is a good news for Keppel shareholders, right? But Sembcorp Marine shareholders did not have a happy morning. It is down 21%. Right, so if you ask me, it might not be a bad idea, right? Because you have Sembcorp Industries, Keppel Corp, and Sembcorp Marine. If nothing happened, three of these stocks, their share prices would be always be limited by their oil and gas exposure, right? But after Sembcorp throw it away, after Keppel Corp hive it off, eventually, right? Then you only have one stock that's probably not doing well, but you can free up the burden from Sembcorp Industries as well as Keppel Corp. Okay, so I do think that on that note, as a whole, it is good for more shareholders than fewer ones. So in summary, the rights issue for Sembcorp Marine is critical for its liquidity, as we have seen. They need the money, right, to stay afloat and going. And the good news is that this 1.5 billion is confirmed. Okay, once the rights issue is approved by the shareholders, this $1.5 billion will be fully underwritten, regardless whether Sembcorp Marine shareholders are keen to subscribe to it or not. Okay, because Temasek has promised via Start 3, as well as DBS have underwritten 33% of it. Okay, so for sure, Sembcorp Marine is not going to go away. They're going to raise the money one way or another. All right. And it is a renounceable rights. That means if, as a shareholder of Sembcorp Marine, when you get the rights and you have no intention to subscribe to them, you can sell them in the open market, given the trading periods announced later. but I suspect it will be hard to sell because the demand in the first place would not be high, and they may not have enough buyers, and the price may go so low such that it's no longer worthwhile to sell it and pay the brokerage fee. Alright? And Keppel Corp would be a winner from this exercise, okay, because they can really hive off that O&M sector or segment to Sembcorp Marine, a big part of it, and some of the other restructuring that's ongoing. Right? That should give some lift to Keppel Corp share price even over a longer period of time. Okay, so that is what is going to happen. All right, I hope that you have a better idea what is going to the timeline, okay, leading to the rights issue. Right, the only thing that is unknown right now is the merger between Keppel Corp O&M as well as the Sembcorp Marine. All right, that is still a MOU at this point in time. As for the rights issue, and I said that the rights issue is likely to be approved because your Start 3, who owns for over 40% of Sembcorp Marine, has promised to vote in favor for it. Okay, because Sembcorp Marine really need the money, right? So you can see that there is a determination to save it. Okay, and I think it will happen, right? But they still need to go through the proper process to get this rights issue approved. All right. So all the best to you as a shareholder. If you are watching this, okay, decide based on your situation, your context, and I wish you all the best. Okay. If you like this video, if you think that it can really help you make your investment decision better, right, give you more information in more layman term, you can just like this video as well as subscribe to the channel. All right. Take care, and I'll see you the next time.